Daniel Harris, 38, walks with his 11-year-old daughter Lily, both holding dripping ice cream cones, their laughter mixing with the warm breeze. Then a commotion erupts near the basketball court. A group of teens shoving a smaller girl, mocking her torn clothes and clutched books. Daniel rushes forward, voice sharp and protective, scattering the bullies like startled birds. The girl trembles against the fence, whispering through tears, "Why won't they leave me alone?" Stay with us. This touching story reveals the shocking truth about who she really is. Daniel kneels beside the girl, his gentle voice cutting through her fear as he offers his lightweight jacket. She's bruised around her left cheek, dirt smudged on her knees, but she tries to straighten her shoulders and act tough, the way kids do when they've had to grow up too fast. Lily approaches cautiously, her own ice cream melting forgotten in her small hand. With the pure generosity that only children possess, she extends the cone toward the stranger. "You can have mine. It's strawberry. That's the best kind." The girl hesitates, studying Lily's earnest face, then whispers her name with the fragility of someone unused to kindness. "Emily." She's 15, though her eyes carry the weight of someone much older. Daniel insists on walking her home, but Emily's entire body freezes at the suggestion, her head shaking violently. "I can't go back there. I can't." Concern etches deeper lines around Daniel's eyes as he processes her fear, the way she clutches her torn backpack like a shield. Without hesitation, he offers what feels natural. "Then come with us, just for now, until we figure things out." The walk to Daniel's house passes in comfortable silence, Lily chattering about school and her favorite books, while Emily listens with something approaching wonder. When they arrive at the modest two-story home with its welcoming front porch and flower boxes, Emily marvels at details others might take for granted. The warmth radiating from the small kitchen, the rich smell of spaghetti sauce simmering on the stove, the family photos lining the hallway walls. Lily treats Emily like the older sister she's always wanted, excitedly showing her around, explaining where everything belongs, chattering about her collection of smooth stones and her pet goldfish named Captain Sparkles. Daniel watches this interaction with quiet amazement, seeing how naturally Emily responds to his daughter's enthusiasm, how carefully she handles Lily's treasured possessions. That evening, after tucking Lily into bed and settling Emily in the guest room with fresh sheets and a soft lamp, Daniel pauses outside her door. Through the thin walls, he hears her crying, not the dramatic sobs of a typical teenager, but the muffled, careful weeping of someone who has learned to grieve silently. She clutches her torn backpack against her chest like armor, and Daniel's heart breaks a little more with each quiet sob. He stands in the hallway for a long moment, wrestling with the urge to comfort her and the knowledge that trust takes time to build. Finally, he taps gently on the door and whispers, "Emily, if you need anything at all, I'm just down the hall." The crying stops, replaced by silence, then a barely audible, "Thank you." As Daniel returns to his own room, he finds himself wondering what kind of life this brave, broken girl is running from, and what it might cost his own small family to give her the safety she so desperately needs. But looking at the joy that had filled Lily's face during dinner, watching Emily's cautious smile when his daughter had insisted on sharing dessert, Daniel already knows his answer. Some things are worth any risk. Over the following days, Emily weaves herself into the fabric of their daily routines with surprising ease. She walks beside Lily to school each morning, their backpacks bouncing in rhythm, Emily's protective instincts naturally extending to her young companion. In the afternoon, she helps with homework at the kitchen table, patiently explaining math problems while Daniel prepares dinner, her voice growing more confident with each passing day. Saturday mornings transform into something magical. Emily teaching Lily how to make perfect pancakes, flour dusting their clothes as they laugh at lopsided attempts. Daniel notices how Emily's eyes light up whenever Lily calls her Em, the nickname rolling off his daughter's tongue like they've been sisters their whole lives. In the quiet evening hours after Lily has been tucked into bed with her favorite story, Emily begins to cautiously open up. She speaks in fragments at first, how her mother died when she was 10, leaving her alone with a father who viewed parenting as a burden rather than a blessing. Her voice grows steadier as she describes years of emotional distance, of feeling like an unwanted obligation. He doesn't want me, she confesses one night, staring into her mug of hot chocolate. He just wants to win, whatever game he thinks we're playing. I'm just another piece on his board. Daniel listens without judgment, recognizing the deep wounds that neglect can carve into a young heart. He thinks of his own struggles raising Lily alone after losing his wife, how love sometimes means simply showing up, day after day, quietly with the conviction of someone who means every word he promises. Here, you're safe. Here, you matter. Emily's bond with Lily deepens with each shared moment. She teaches the younger girl how to braid friendship bracelets, shares her music through tangled earbuds, and listens to Lily's elaborate stories about her imaginary adventures with the patience of someone who understands the power of imagination to heal. One rainy Thursday night, as thunder rumbles outside their warm kitchen, Daniel finds himself sharing his own story. The sudden illness that took his wife, the overwhelming responsibility of raising Lily alone, the persistent loneliness that follows him even in crowded rooms. Emily listens with the same careful attention he has given her, and when he finishes, she whispers with wisdom beyond her years. Maybe we're all a little broken. Maybe that's okay. The house fills with new sounds, Emily's laughter echoing from the living room as she and Lily build elaborate pillow forts, her voice harmonizing with Lily's during their evening sing-alongs, the gentle scratch of her pencil as she draws in a sketchbook Daniel bought her, replacing the torn one she'd carried like a lifeline. Slowly, carefully, Emily begins to bloom. Her smiles come easier now, lasting longer. She hums while washing dishes, offers opinions during dinner conversations, even teases Daniel gently about his inability to untangle Christmas lights. The shadow that had followed her into their home begins to lift, replaced by something Daniel hardly dared hope for: joy. Yet beneath this growing happiness, Daniel senses something Emily hasn't shared, a secret that makes her pause mid-sentence sometimes, that brings a flicker of fear to her eyes when unexpected cars drive slowly past their house. There's a piece of her story still locked away, and Daniel respects her privacy while quietly preparing himself for whatever truth might eventually emerge. He watches her reading to Lily before bedtime, her voice steady and warm, and wonders how anyone could fail to see the treasure this girl represents. Whatever forces drove her to that park, whatever circumstances led to her sitting alone and afraid, Daniel knows with absolute certainty that finding Emily, or rather, Emily finding them, has changed his family in ways he's still discovering. The healing isn't just Emily's. Lily has gained confidence, pride radiating from her when she introduces my sister Em to classmates, and Daniel himself feels something he'd forgotten was possible: the completeness that comes when a family finds all its missing pieces. Keep watching, because the truth about Emily's father will turn Daniel's world completely upside down. 3 weeks into their new routine, on a Tuesday morning bright with spring sunshine, everything changes. Daniel is loading the dishwasher while Emily helps Lily pack her school lunch when a sleek black Mercedes pulls up outside their modest home, its dark windows reflecting the morning light like cold mirrors. A tall, imposing man steps out, expensive suit perfectly tailored, silver hair styled with precision, every movement radiating the kind of authority that comes from years of getting exactly what he wants. Daniel's coffee mug slips from his fingers, shattering against the kitchen floor in a cascade of ceramic and brown liquid. Richard Kane, his longtime rival, his bitterest enemy at Morrison and Associates, the man who had systematically undermined Daniel's career for the past 5 years. Richard's voice booms across the quiet neighborhood as he strides toward the front door. Emily, get in the car right now. This ridiculous game ends today. Daniel's blood turns to ice water in his veins. Emily, sweet, broken, brave Emily, is Richard Kane's daughter. The pieces fall into place with sickening clarity: the expensive clothes beneath the dirt and tears, the careful way she speaks, the fear that had driven her from a house that probably cost more than Daniel's annual salary. She hadn't been running from poverty. She'd been running from a father who treated love like a negotiation and family like a business merger. Emily shrinks back against the kitchen counter, her newfound confidence crumbling as terror fills her eyes. Please don't make me go with him. Please, Daniel, I can't. I won't. Richard enters without invitation. his presence filling their warm kitchen like a cold front, his gaze sweeping dismissively over their modest surroundings. When his eyes land on Daniel, his smile turns predatory. "Harris, I should have known. Always picking up strays, aren't you?" The old rivalry resurfaces instantly. Years of professional betrayal, harsh words exchanged in conference rooms, promotions stolen, projects sabotaged. Richard had cost Daniel 2 major clients and nearly his job, all while wearing the mask of civilized competition. But this isn't about business anymore. This is about a terrified girl who has found her first real home. Daniel steps forward, positioning himself between Richard and Emily, his voice steady despite the rage building in his chest. "She's not property, Richard. She's not a possession you can claim when convenient. She deserves love, not control." Richard's laugh is sharp, cutting. "Love? You think this poverty-stricken playhouse is love? I can give her everything. Private schools, university abroad, connections that matter. You're offering her nothing but mediocrity." "I'm offering her a family," Daniel replies, his voice gaining strength. "Something you clearly never understood how to provide." The threat comes swift and brutal. Richard will file kidnapping charges, destroy Daniel's remaining career prospects, even question his fitness as Lily's father if necessary. His voice drops to a dangerous whisper. "You will lose everything, Harris. Your job, your reputation, maybe even that precious daughter of yours. Is this really the hill you want to die on?" For a moment, the kitchen falls silent, except for the steady tick of the wall clock and Emily's quiet sobbing. Daniel feels the weight of Richard's threats, understands exactly how much power his enemy wields in their professional world. One phone call from Richard Kane could indeed destroy everything Daniel has built. But then he looks at Emily, really looks at her, sees the way she's positioned herself protectively near Lily, how even in her terror she's thinking of others first. Sees the drawing stuck to their refrigerator, her careful handwriting on grocery lists, the friendship bracelet around her wrist that matches Lily's. Emily finds her voice trembling but determined. "I choose to stay. I choose them. I choose a family that actually wants me here." Richard's composure cracks for just a moment, something that might be pain flickering across his features, before pride slams the mask back into place. "You're making a mistake, Emily. A costly one." "The only mistake," Daniel says, his voice carrying quiet conviction, "was you never learning how to love your own daughter." Richard storms out, his final words echoing with promise and threat. "This isn't over, Harris. Not by a long shot." The black Mercedes disappears down their street, leaving behind only the lingering scent of expensive cologne and the sound of Emily's broken sobbing. She collapses into Daniel's arms, her voice barely a whisper. "I'm not worth fighting for. I never have been." Daniel kneels, holding her steady, his voice rough with emotion. "Yes, you are, Emily. You always will be, and we'll face whatever comes next, together." The weeks that follow Richard's confrontation pass like a slow exhale, tension gradually giving way to something deeper and more permanent. The legal threats never materialize. Perhaps even Richard Kane recognizes that forcing an unwilling teenager home would create more problems than solutions. Or perhaps he simply cannot bear to publicly admit that his own daughter chose poverty over his wealth. The house settles into new rhythms, each day adding another layer to the foundation they're building together. Emily begins drawing again, her sketchbook filling with images that reflect hope rather than fear. Lily feeding ducks at the pond, Daniel reading the newspaper with his morning coffee. The three of them gathered around their small dining table, sharing dinner and stories. Her laughter becomes a regular soundtrack, mixing with Lily's giggles during their elaborate weekend baking projects. Emily teaches her younger sister, for that's what Lily has become, in every way that matters, how to French braid her hair, how to paint her nails in rainbow patterns, how to harmonize during their evening concerts performed for an audience of one patient father. At Lily's school play in late May, Daniel and Emily sit side by side in the packed auditorium, cheering louder than anyone when Lily appears on stage as the third flower from the left. Emily's pride radiates like sunlight, her applause enthusiastic and genuine. When parents around them smile and comment on what a lovely family they make, neither Daniel nor Emily corrects the assumption, because it's not an assumption anymore, it's simply truth. One evening in early June, As fireflies begin their nightly dance outside the kitchen window, Emily approaches Daniel with something hidden behind her back. Her eyes shine with nervous excitement as she reveals a carefully folded piece of paper, a drawing she's been working on for weeks. The sketch shows the three of them together under the old oak tree in their backyard, arms linked, faces bright with genuine happiness. Lily is in the middle, her gap-toothed grin prominent, while Daniel and Emily flank her protectively. At the bottom, in Emily's careful handwriting, she's titled it simply, Home. Daniel's eyes mist as he studies every careful detail. The way she's captured Lily's energetic spirit, the contentment in his own expression, the peace that has finally settled in her own features. His voice comes out, rough with emotion. That's exactly what we are, Em. That's exactly what we've always been. Richard appears one final time on a quiet Sunday morning, but this visit carries a different energy. Gone is the aggressive demand, the threatening posture. Instead, he stands awkwardly on their front porch, looking older somehow, diminished. When Emily appears beside Daniel, Richard studies her face. The healthy glow in her cheeks, the confidence in her posture, the way she instinctively moves closer to Daniel for support rather than shrinking away. You look, he begins, then stops, perhaps recognizing that admitting she looks happy, healthy, loved, would be acknowledging his own failures as a father. Emily speaks first, her voice steady. I'm where I belong, Dad. I'm sorry that's not with you, but I can't pretend anymore that we're a family just because we share DNA. For once, Richard Kane, master negotiator, ruthless businessman, man accustomed to winning every battle, admits defeat. I can't give you what you found here, he says quietly. I never learned how. The conversation is brief, painfully honest, and surprisingly peaceful. When Richard leaves, there are no threats, no final ultimatums, just a father finally letting go of a daughter he never knew how to hold. On Lily's 12th birthday in August, their kitchen glows with candlelight and celebration. The cake is slightly lopsided, Emily and Lily's joint creation, but the joy is perfect. As Lily makes her wish and blows out the candles, Emily leans close to Daniel and whispers, "Thank you for rescuing me that day in the park." Daniel wraps his arm around her shoulders, pulling her into the kind of side hug that has become their comfortable expression of affection. No, Em, you rescued us too. You gave us something we didn't even know we were missing. Later, as they clean up the birthday chaos, streamers tangled in chair legs, cake crumbs scattered across the table, wrapping paper creating a colorful carpet, Daniel watches his daughters, because that's what they are now, both of them, working together, sharing inside jokes and comfortable silences. Sometimes the most important moments arrive disguised as ordinary afternoons. Sometimes families aren't born. They're chosen, piece by careful piece, until love creates something stronger than blood ever could. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to our Heart Stories for more emotional tales of love, family, and the beautiful ways we find each other when we need it most.